All right, let's talk about the updates. And this may be repetitive for some of you who have gone through this before, but Acumatica releases 2 major versions a year. One in March, the March-April timeframe, I should say, and then the next one in October. So clearly we're talking about the one today that's October. So the nomenclature of the product version is always like 2020 something, 202, 4, 3, 2, 1, whatever year, and R with the release number. So thus we are at 2024, which is the year, R2, second release. So you know it's the October version. Typically in each version, you'll find 2 to 3 pretty major enhancements, and about, I don't know, anywhere from 30 to 40 to 50 minor enhancements. Each release comes out as a, I think I'll get this right, as an beta release, an early release, and then a general release. So you'd have visibility of kind of what they're planning in the current release, because you'll be able to see the early release notes. So Acumatica will publish the versions themselves and the release notes that go with them. And of course, the release notes will be titled, these are early release notes or these are beta release notes. And I'll show you in a minute where you can find all of that. So when these releases, these version updates come through, again, and this will go for releases as well as the in-version updates. If you're a SaaS customer, Acumatica does the updates for you. Now, there's a lot of planning that goes into this, so don't fear. You're not going to be in one version one day and then wake up the next morning and lo and behold, you're in another version and you haven't tested. Not going to happen. So, but Acumatica does those updates for you. But what do you have to do? First of all, you do need to review the release notes, not only for the version that you're going to, but for every version that you may have skipped in the interim. So for example, if you're on 2023 R1 and you want to go to 24 R2, you want to read the release notes for 23 R2 and for 24 R1 because of those enhancements, because there's so much coming into the software. You want to make sure that even though you're going to 24 R2, that you've captured the benefit of anything that changed in those previous versions. So that's a must. And then how do you actually execute on an update? Well, you call us, you call our customer service manager, Angel, and we request a sandbox for you. The sandbox is an independent kind of instance set up, and Acumatica sets that up and copies your current version and all your data over to that sandbox. So that is ready to go, and they update the sandbox for you. So your job then, you have 90 days with this sandbox to go in and do all of your testing. So you want to do, again, your comprehensive testing, much like you did when we did your initial implementation. You want to document your test plan, and you want to make sure that each of your users tests their processes, tests their reports, ensures that their data is working and their processes are working. So we do strongly encourage, if not require, that level of comprehensive testing. And especially, with customizations, of course, if we've done your customizations, we'll have tested them for compatibility beforehand, but it still will be your job to make sure that the customization functionality is still appropriate. So those are the major releases. Normally, we're going to advise that you keep at least a cadence of 1 major update a year. You can do 2, but that can be a little bit overwhelming for your company, for your business. So we recommend at least 1. We tend to want to wait when a release comes out. You'll see that there will be builds that support that release. And what those builds represent are maybe little bug fixes. As soon as the version comes out and customers start going to that version, they start reporting little problems, and Acumatica is right on it and they start fixing. So we like to wait I don't know, at the time, which I couldn't even tell you, a month, 2 weeks, whatever, we monitor those builds. And when they start to slow down, that's when we're going to want to start really looking at getting those customers who are ready, or whether they're a March update or an October update, whatever, when they're ready, that's when we give them the thumbs up. The inversion updates are what we call builds, and those are as needed fixes or minor enhancements to the current major release. So once that release is kind of off and running, those builds that I was talking about, those can be installed as well. And those are visible from within Acumatica. You can see where your software version is in terms of what build you might be missing within Acumatica. However, again, if you're a SaaS customer, Acumatica does the in-version updates for you on request. If you're an on-prem customer, you will have access to those and you can perform those enhancements yourself. Now, where do we find all of this good information? So I hope that if you're a current customer of Algorithm, you are very familiar with this community Acumatica page. You see the URL there, community.acumatica.com. It is, requires login credentials, again, just so they know who you are. Are you a customer? Are you a partner? And this is the products page that I'm showing you. And when you're on the products page, right here, the drop-down shows you the list of currently supported versions. Acumatica runs a pretty tight ship in terms of moving product forward and retiring versions down here in a timely manner. This actually, it's this practice that allows them to keep enhancing their product because they're not spending a ton of time maintaining way too many retired versions. So they retire them and they're done. They don't do any more enhancements or corrections for retired versions, but they keep 4 major versions available and updated concurrently. So when you select, say you select, as you see here, I did your 24R2, what you will get, this is where the product is. This is where the 24R2, general release build is. And down over here is where you would have found some pre-release versions, the 24R2 early release or beta release. Those early releases are down there as well. Now, as I said, Acumatica will do those updates for you, set up a sandbox, put your data in there, and then do the update. But should you want an early view of it, you can certainly, as always, install Acumatica locally and use it as a test. You get a 2-user system, and you can see some of the enhancements for yourself. What else do we have here? A little bit farther down, sorry, I couldn't fit it all on one page. It was too small. The upgrade notes are on that same page as well. Now, again, I draw your attention to the really specific instructions, comprehensive instructions that Acumatica provides. Pay attention if you're going to do the upgrade, watch these things, and I did not expand this. And before upgrading from an older version, review these documents. And here are your release notes, and those are what I'm talking about, those release notes that you should have for each of the interim releases if you're jumping from one release to another. Downloadable in a PDF. Again, normally you're looking at 2 to 3 major enhancements that we'll be talking about with those 30, 40 minor enhancements, but in the release notes, each of the enhancements is discussed in detail, how to, what it does, how to configure it, how to use it. And last but not least, this is where you can see the builds that are available for the version that you're on. So if you go to the system management module, or in your universal search, if you have the rights and you type apply updates, even if you're a SaaS installation, you can still see the version or the builds that would be available to you. So in this particular case, I updated our internal system. This is our test. But when I updated the internal system, I went back a few days later, and sure enough, I updated us to 24R1, but there is a newer version. There is a build update that I can now install. So even though you can't install them if you're SaaS, you can still see where you are. And last but not least, let's talk a little bit about, because especially for those, a little bit newer to the algorithm / Acumatica family, or those looking at Acumatica, it is important to know what drives the enhancement decision, the change decisions in the product. How are they determined? So I would say, I've always looked to see, where these enhancements are coming from. What are the forces that are driving the roadmap for Acumatica? I listen to what they say, and it does seem to always come down to those 4 bullet points. Technology advances, and in the last 5 years, drive pretty much everything. It's not only it's not only what we're doing, it's how we're doing what we're doing. And right now, the technology advance that we're all talking about that is driving so much of the functionality in the market, of course, is AI. So you'll be hearing, I'm sure not only in Acumatica, but any other technology product, how artificial intelligence is being embedded in their product and driving their product. And of course, Acumatica has a close eye on that. Market demands, like what is changing in the overall manufacturing, distribution, construction, field service, and commerce markets, because those are the markets that Acumatica plays in. So what is going on in those markets, and what is important in those businesses? What are the conversations going on in any of the construction conferences? So Acumatica is out and about and extremely active in user conferences, product conferences, in professional societies, watching those types of demands. And then, of course, the customer and partner input. Acumatica really does pay close attention and is in close communication with their customers and their partners on functionality requirements. And they put their money where their mouth is, honestly, on this one, because again, on that Acumatica customer or that community page is an ideas section under the product menu option. If you drop that down, you'll see an ideas section. And what this is it's the page where customers, partners can input and create, here you see, new ideas. This is what we want Acumatica to do. For example, you'll see this one, and this was this screenshot actually is a little old, because this request here to create a DAX schema browser for Acumatica had a bunch of votes. As you can see, 326 people voted on it. So it is a voting mechanism as well. You not only can submit your ideas, you can go out and ask your teammates, your colleagues, all your customers to stuff the ballot box. So if you ever see from us, and you probably have, a request that comes out that says, hey, somebody here, Kristen submitted an idea out on the portal, we want everybody to vote for it, because we want it to rise to the top and we want to get their attention, because they do pay attention. So all of these statuses that you see, shipped, future consideration, this is Acumatica coming in, reviewing the enhancement ideas, oftentimes asking questions about it. Can you give me a use case for that? Can you tell me a little bit more about that? Oh, this is a duplicate. Somebody else has put that idea in. So it is an extremely active page. And every year at Summit, one of the breakout sessions that is the most popular, you actually have to run from your previous breakout session to this one if you want to get a seat, is the the ideas to product session, where they go over which of the product ideas from this ideas page they have now incorporated into the product. And in that session, they take 4 or 5 of the most popular ones and they put it to a vote of the room. And whichever one wins the vote of the room is the next one going in. So it's kind of fun, but it is really a commitment that Acumatica shows to the experience and the feedback that both customers and partners give them. And then, of course, support tickets. Support tickets give us all, no matter, I mean, support tickets give algorithm insight into troublesome areas, either of the software or maybe the customer having issues with a particular topic. But Acumatica looks at them really like globally. And so they can take their support tickets and say, wow, we have gotten like, hundreds, if not thousands of tickets on this particular function. So something is going wrong. So support tickets typically are the source of the builds. So something's going wrong, and Acumatica, again, they're very responsive to that. So if something is going wrong and the support tickets are showing it, because really it's the support tickets where they're going to get their first determination. It's like the canary in the minefield or the coal mine, showing that something is wrong and they address it, and thus the builds. So that's where you can go once you're really engaged and involved in Acumatica and you want something changed, throw an idea in. When you throw an idea in, tell your consultants, tell me, tell somebody at Algorithm so that we can go out again and request the stuffing of the ballot box for you.